don't think it even went. They got any of the intro.
It's going down now.
Hmm? Okay, we're back. Yeah, we're back. We're
Run
back.
the intro again.
It's all right. Apologies.
Take two, guys. What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more live streams for you guys. Spurs going through a grueling pre-season out in South Korea so far, as they got there, I think, yesterday or a couple of days ago. First game of pre-season will be on Wednesday, which I'm very much looking forward to. Obviously, you can catch the watch-along right here, 12 o'clock kickoff against the K-League All-Stars. You getting excited, Sim, for the new season, for pre-seasons, getting to see Spurs back on the pitch once and for all?
I'm really can't wait for what we've done, and I've been watching a lot of the open training session that they've done today. Conte's got his teeth into this squad. He's doing all the training sessions, and they're looking good. Conte's got a big smile on his face. Oh, again, I've moved down. Conte's got a big smile on his face. He's loving life at the moment, and I think a happy Conte is dangerous for the rest of the Premier League. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far in the open training sessions. They look absolutely dead on their feet, but it's exciting, very exciting.
Oh, good. Yeah, it is very exciting times here at Tottenham, obviously. Well, let's talk about this training session out in Korea this morning. We've got a few clips to show you, but you know, we've seen the players being absolutely hammered in training. Let's go and look at a few clips. This is in the World Cup Stadium, I think in Suwon. So I think that you're very humid, and they are really Antonio Conte really putting them through the paces. Apparently the fitness coach got them to make like 47 laps of the pitch or something in that heat, which is absolutely grueling. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do to get ready for the season, don't you?
Definitely. And yeah, he's known, isn't he? The fitness coach for being a taskmaster of such, and he's really clearly putting the players through their paces. In pre-season, you can see with the on screen, are the videos playing? They don't seem to be playing. One sec, we'll get it back up in a second. But they look dead on their feet, but it's good. I'm hoping that the players, hopefully, pre-season is really grueling, so when it gets to the Premier League football, it doesn't seem as hard.
Yeah, I mean, players like Harry Kane, Heung-min Son literally collapsing. It's unbelievable. But we've heard, I mean, Ali Gold, I think, or Chris Cowlin was saying that Troy Parrott was one of the ones that was lasting the most and the one most fit by the end of it, which is really interesting to hear.
Yeah, which maybe his extra training in Mykonos has really been doing the job, hasn't it? Or that we've seen his pictures of Son looking absolutely dead. Richarlison with some nice finishing in training, which was really, really good to see. Obviously, very excited to see him in a Tottenham shirt. He looked sharp from what I saw in the open training session as well. So that was really, really exciting. And there's Lucas Moura linking up with Richarlison. In the opening training session as well. I thought Bissouma was one of the standouts in training as well. He was brilliant. Talk
back on Richarlison and Moura for a second, but I'm loving all this bromance with the Brazilians at the moment. Did you see how they were coming on the aeroplane, all going bark, bark,
yeah,
bark, bark, bark. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
The pigeon.
It's so funny. Every time I see Richarlison training, it's always with the Brazilians. He doesn't seem to be integrating too much with the squad just yet.
Yeah, but he's just settling in, isn't he? There was a bit of a scare. Apparently, Kulusevski went off injured early in the training session, so he wasn't able to take part in a lot of the sessions with Conte and the team. I think it's in this clip here, actually, that we can bring up. We see Kulusevski over there walking off. I think it's just courtesy of Ali Gold, which hopefully is he says it's just a precaution. Hopefully he's absolutely right. But as you can see here, the rest of the team doing some training sessions, and There's Kulusevski walking off to the side, having pulled something or done something as well. Apparently, Ivan Perisic as well was struggling with an injury and also had to go off.
He's been struggling with a knee injury ever since he came to Tottenham, Perisic. So hopefully they'll get the kind of treatment they need, and they'll be back to full fitness before the start of the season. But they were saying that with Kulusevski, it was just a precaution right now, weren't they?
Yeah, it seems that way. He was able to walk off. It wasn't didn't seem serious, but I guess you never know until you've had tests and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully he'll be all right to take part in some of the games. Hopefully it's just precaution, but if it isn't, then let's hope he's back for some of the other preseason games, because you don't want him struggling for the start of the season, do you?
Yeah, and the welcome that the team got in Korea was something unbelievable, wasn't it? It was like, how many people waiting there at the airport to greet the Spurs team. It was a nice little touch. Sonny waiting for them with that little placard as well, getting the team into Korea. And it's something that Sonny's actually been waiting for a long time. I think he's spoken about it on many interviews to welcome the Spurs team in Korea. So a big moment for Sonny, and I'm sure the whole team are really going through a nice bonding session and grueling sessions as well. So it's good to see. You had something to say about Papa Mate Sarr as well, didn't you, about his fitness?
Yeah, well, according to Chris Cowlin, the players who were looking the most fit at the end of the running was Parrott, Bryan Gil, and Papa Mate Sarr.
So the three young boys.
Yeah, maybe it's because they were the youngest players. Apparently, Kane and Tom are completely dead on their feet and had to stop and then restart again. Maybe showing their age a bit.
Ones now,
yeah, so that makes sense, I guess. But look, it's good. I think there's a lot to be decided during this pre-season, as much as it is to get everyone up to speed with Conte's methods, and obviously getting Basuma and all the Richarlison and all the new signings. Obviously, Perisic already knows how Conte likes to play, but all the new signings who maybe aren't used to him. Obviously, more time with the likes of Kulusevski and Romero and all them lot to get up to speed. But there's also decisions to be made, big decisions to be made. Apparently, we'll talk about Parrott in a sec, but there's decisions with Parrott, with Gil, with Papa Mate Sarr, with the two wing backs, Doherty and Emerson. They're both out there to impress, because they both are pretty much, let's be honest, they're probably both fighting to be in the squad for next season as things stand. I don't think they both start at Tottenham. I don't think they're both, still at Tottenham by the end of the season. So as much as these are friendlies, they're maybe these players should be taking it those kind of players should be taking it very seriously, because their futures at Tottenham are kind of on the line here, right? All their near future, the short-term futures anyway.
Do you think that in terms of players like Doherty and Emerson, that a pre-season out in South Korea can sway a Conte decision?
I think so. I think so, because as much as he's seen them week in, week out in the Premier League, but when you're making a decision as to who you really want around for next season, I think it is. I think it's not a foregone conclusion who he prefers between Doherty and Emerson right now. I do think he's been leaning towards Doherty, because I think when they were both fit last season, Doherty got the nod, and even on our left wing back, Doherty was getting the nod. But I still think it's a close decision, with Emerson being younger, obviously Doherty coming back from injury. I think a lot will depend on how things go this pre-season. Not necessarily just this tour, but the whole pre-season potentially, if they're still around. I think Conte will be watching them very closely, because if Emerson shows, look, I can produce in the final third, then he'll want to keep him. But if he continues to show, the quality in the final third that he was showing last season, then maybe he'll lean more with Doherty, who showed that he can contribute more regularly to goals and assists, which he wants from the wing back. Although defensively, I think Emerson probably has the edge. But it depends what Conte values, and depends how much they can show what they're capable of.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, do you not think that in terms of a footballing only perspective, that he's seen what Doherty, and he knows what Doherty and Emerson can produce, and maybe two friendlies against the K-League and also against Sevilla? I mean, it's not really going to show him anything new in terms of their quality as footballers.
No, not just the games, just everything. The training, how their attitudes, it all makes a difference, I think. And I'm not saying it's just going to be based on in Korea. Could be based on the whole preseason as a whole. But definitely, I think this will play a part. I don't think he's gonna say, "Oh, you had a bad game in Korea, so we're selling him." But I do think I think the decision is very close right now as to who we definitely want to get rid of. So I think everything can make a difference.
All right,
that's what I think. Anyway, I don't know.
Interesting.
And what, you do a speed test? What does it show? It shows fine. So what is going on? Yeah, we're back. All right.
Yeah, so sorry about that, guys. We're back up and running now. Hopefully it should be fine. But what I was saying is that in terms of the right wing-back situation, we haven't brought anyone else in.
Correct.
The players that have been left at home, we've got kind of replacements for them. Maybe not enough. I mean, we've brought in 3 midfielders there that have been left at home. Only 1 midfielder has come in. But we are having Skip back, which is a big plus. But I think Conte knows in his mind which one he prefers, which one, and I think that he's probably confirmed in his mind that he's open to selling at least one of them if another one comes in. So I think
we know that we have to make a choice.
Yeah, I think he's already made that choice. Obviously, I don't know that for sure in a concrete decision or anything like that. But I think if we would have brought in Spence for this tour, he would have left one of those right wing backs at home.
Potentially. I don't know. I feel like he hasn't. I feel maybe if we would have brought in Spence, he would have to make a choice sooner, but we haven't. So I think that choice is still open.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's made that choice just yet.
It's interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
There's no way of knowing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the kind of source that we have did say that he doesn't like Emerson, does he?
He said he didn't like Doherty either.
But he says he really doesn't like Emerson. So I think that I think he does prefer Doherty over Emerson.
Yeah.
And I think that Emerson, look, we all know he's not a natural wing back and he's more of a full back. And I think if push comes to shove, if we do get in a right wing back in, Emerson's the one going to be out the door. And we've got some sort of information on Emerson as well, which kind of is contrary to what I'm saying. But that is the situation on the Spurs South Korean tour as it is right now, going through grueling training sessions. And the game is on Wednesday. So looking forward to watching that. Live watch along will be here with you on Wednesday with me and Sim on the screen, 12 o'clock.
No, it's fine. Keep going.
And yeah, and I think we'll move on to some transfer news now. First up, we're going to talk about Sergio Reguilon. A publication called Mucha Deporte saying that Sevilla are working to see whether a deal to sign Reguilon from Tottenham is possible. Jose Manuel Garcia, who is a journalist out in Spain, saying that Tottenham defender Sergio Reguilon to Sevilla is on following the departure of Ludwig Augustinsson. Reguilon is understood to be happy to rejoin his former club this summer. And it actually could be a deal that could be made out in Korea because Sevilla also out in Korea. Spurs are planning to play them. I think it's on Saturday, just under a week on Saturday.
Levy's there.
Levy's there, Paratici's there. So it's a deal that actually could be done out in Sevilla, in Korea.
Daily Mail as well, just apparently tweeting out saying that Sevilla are definitely looking to re-sign Reguilon. So it makes sense. It was where he was at his best when they won the Europa League the year before we signed him. I think maybe if he goes back to where he's happiest, clearly Madrid aren't going to look to re-sign him. I think talk of Barcelona probably a bit fanciful at this point. So I think it makes complete sense he'll go back to Seville. Just depends if they have the money, because we're probably going to want our money. I know Levy, he's probably going to try and get his money back. Seeing as he got his money back for Bergwijn, and you'd probably say Bergwijn had an even worse time than Reguilon at Spurs, so you'd probably want his money back at least for Reguilon. So and the foreign clubs at the moment, then not all of them have a lot of money right now, so it's very, very difficult. So whether it's a loan with a mandatory fee in the future or something like that, but I think it makes sense for everyone. I do feel a bit bad for Reggie. I feel like it was the right player, wrong time. Maybe under a different coach, it could have been different. And I do feel like he's a good player, and I feel even under Conte he wasn't bad. but I just feel like he's not perfect for what we really want in our wing back. So if that's the case, there's no point trying to continue to try and fit him in if we don't believe he's the right fit. Better to try and cash in, and we already got someone who is the right fit. So makes sense.
I felt like he was much more. He would have been much more used to like a Jose Mourinho system than he would an Antonio Conte system. And even when Antonio first came in, it looked like Reggie was the one that was going to benefit one of the most in the first few weeks. But unfortunately, it didn't work out to be that way. And it looks like we are open to letting him leave, or we definitely are, seeing as he got left home from the tour.
Yeah. That was a big call, but I honestly didn't expect him to be left home from the tour, but he made the decision. And now, I think it's fair. Like, I'm glad that he did it, because it leaves people under no illusions of where his stance is in the squad right now. So at the end of the season, it was a bit like people saying probably prefer Sessegnon over Reguilon because of how Sessegnon ended the season. I think Sessegnon's more used to left wing back position, but I still think it was a bit like not 100%. But then that makes it clear, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's move on and let's talk about Tanguy Ndombele now. Get French Football Now is saying that Tottenham are hopeful they can send Ndombele to Villarreal. They are offering him about to several clubs, and Lyon have declined to enter discussions with Tottenham for Tanguy Ndombele. So do you look at Villarreal as a club where he can succeed there?
It doesn't make sense to me, because why would they go for him and not Celso, who they want? Unless they get both, but they're really going to get both. I don't see them getting both. And if they're going to spend money, they're probably more likely to spend it getting Celso. So I don't really see Villarreal. I mean, you never know. Maybe Celso goes somewhere else, and they'll be like, okay, we'll take Ndombele. But I have a feeling that doesn't make too. Like him under Unai Emery as well. I don't know. It doesn't really fit. To me. Yeah,
I agree with that. But it's like we're trying to offer him to just whoever, basically just offering him to everyone, and just one of them will stick, hopefully.
Yeah,
that's what we're going for.
I think anyone take him, please. I think at this point, because he's no future at Tottenham. When people saw him in doing some pre-season training at Hotspur Way and doing individual training, there was like murmurs like, oh, maybe one last chance, one last dance with Ndombele. Could we we need a player like him, but him being left out of the tour is confirmation. There is absolutely no way he's playing again for Tottenham Hotspur under Conte, at least. So, I mean, just try and get whatever you can for him.
Those training videos I saw from Ndombele just before he came back from pre-season just gave me Dele Alli vibes, man. That's all it gave me. Just how many times did we see it with Dele Alli? Oh, he's coming back so fit. Look at how hard he's working when he's on holiday, blah, blah, blah. And he comes back and he's like one good game and then that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm not falling for those tricks anymore from these kind of players. But let's move on and let's talk about Giovanni Lo Celso now. And El Periodico Mediterraneo, a publication out in Spain, saying Lo Celso remains a priority target for Villarreal. They hope to reach a deal in the fee of a region of 18 million euros. But accept that it's a complex matter. And Marca are saying that Villarreal cannot afford to sign Lo Celso permanently unless they make a big sale this summer.
Pau Torres?
Yeah, well, that sale to West Ham fell through at the last second.
Yeah,
was it 45 million or something for Danjuma?
He didn't want to go there.
I wouldn't either, to be honest. But that could have been the kind of deal that got the Lo Celso deal over the line. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're that sold on Pau Torres, does it? Otherwise, we probably would have pulled the trigger right now. It seems as though we'd rather wait for a proper target than settle for someone like him. So... I mean, they could still sell him, but it doesn't look like they're going to sell him to us. I mean, I don't know who else in their squad's worth a lot of money. There's obviously got Chakwueze and Danjuma, probably both worth a decent amount.
Well, even if Pau Torres doesn't come to us, I mean, he's been rumoured to go to clubs like Chelsea and Man United as well.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't come to us, maybe he will get his move at some point.
Potentially, but then they'll have to replace him as well. It probably makes more sense if it is one of the forward players or midfield players, and the Celso can come in and replace him. Depends who they let go. I mean, it makes sense, as I've been saying, because a lot of the Spanish and Italian clubs, they're just strapped for cash at the moment. The Premier League clubs are the only ones really booming with all the money. They're able to splash. The other leagues, they're struggling. Whereas a 30 million outlay or 20 million outlay for Premier League clubs, they don't even think twice about it, apart from if you're Daniel Levy, obviously. They barely think twice about it, but these are big transfer fees for these for the other clubs in foreign leagues. So to get 18 million out is not so simple anymore as it was maybe before the pandemic. And that's just reality we have to face at the moment. So hopefully they get the money together and we can get him to Villarreal, but nothing's guaranteed right now.
I would not be surprised with both of these, Ndombele and Celso, if both of them go on loans again this summer. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. Moving on to Djed Tanganga, Gazzetta Italia saying that AC Milan want to sign Djed Tanganga, but only on a loan. Everton and Brentford are also interested in signing Djed Tanganga. So we brought to you on Friday that there's been a lot of interest in Tanganga, and now even more clubs putting their name in the hat for Tanganga. But I think out of all the clubs being mentioned, he would absolutely bite his hand off for a move to AC Milan. And I think even a loan deal with an option to buy, a bit like, Fikayo Tomori had there, I think it'll be an absolutely brilliant deal for Tanganga anyway.
Yeah, he would have to jump at the chance to get to move to a club. I know, look, I'm not saying I'm not comparing AC Milan to Spurs. They're a massive club. And he's not getting the playing time at Tottenham. They're champions, exactly, Serie A champions. So what more would he want? Especially because look, if he was getting game time at Tottenham, it's a different story. But he's not. He's not getting any sort of game time to progress. And if AC Milan are going to tell him, look, you come and you'll play a lot more. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that if you're in Tanganga's situation? So
and have Tomori Tanganga back too.
That'll maybe he can put himself in England situation like Tomori has. You never know. But I doubt it. But I think it makes complete sense if they're serious about him. It'd be a shame, but I mean, it makes sense, and I don't think we can. Stand in his way any longer because we've just not been giving him the opportunities he probably feels he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to talk about Bryan Gil up next. And Harry Winks we're going to talk about. And Daily Mail saying that Southampton have now identified Harry Winks as a transfer target. I mean, we've been speaking about Harry Winks for a while now, and I think we've both been in agreement that Southampton would be a really good fit for someone like Harry Winks. And finally, Southampton coming forward maybe and identifying him. Do you think that this is one that could potentially happen from now to the end of the window? Would it be more of a loan deal with an option to buy?
Knowing how much we want for him, probably, but I hope we can just get him out the door. I hope, 15 million, just get the money and move on from it. He's been left out the tour, so there's no chance he's got a future at Tottenham. I think his performances last season, apart from the one against Liverpool, where he was brilliant, other than that, he were really, really poor, wasn't up to standard. So I think we just need, again, a bit of similar to the other players. We need to get as much as we can and move on from it. I think hanging on, trying to eke out an extra few million, unless you're that confident you're going to get it, if you're risking a deal for a few extra million, it's not worth it. If they're offering 15 or something, I don't know what they're offering or if they're offering, but if they offer 15 million and we want 20, you're just better off just trying to settle on that deal instead of trying to eke out the few million.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. But let's move on to the next situation, and that is Bryan Gil and Estadio Deportivo are saying that several teams are awaiting Antonio Conte's decision on Bryan Gil, whilst Real Sociedad are now among the teams interested in him. What's your opinion on Bryan Gil, and do you think that if he does go back out to Spain on another loan deal, do you think he most probably will end up staying in Spain, or do you think there'll still be an opportunity for him to come back and prove himself?
I think there's always an opportunity if he does really, really well out in Spain. I think there's always an opportunity to come back. I'd rather he goes out on loan in the Premier League, but that entails a Premier League club coming to take a chance on him. And if that's not available, then it's better he does go on loan. Obviously, he's away with the team at the moment for pre-season. So Conte will be taking a very close look at him and what he thinks of him. And he's still got so much quality. And who knows? Sometimes these players, they take just a bit of time to adjust, and then they can get used to how the intensity and the physicality of the Premier League. And there's definitely nothing for certain when it comes to young players like that. But I think he'll probably do more good than harm if he goes on loan to Spain. Just because if he keeps getting the game time and if he starts really contributing for teams in the final third, then you could argue, yeah, look, it's only in Spain, so doesn't prove anything, but at least he's still growing into himself and growing as a player, and then you assess it again once he comes back for the next pre-season. And if you feel like he's still not ready, then you probably just sell.
Interesting. I think, yeah, with the likes of Emerson and Doherty that we were talking about before, do you think that maybe there's a situation that Gil does work his way into Antonio Conte's plans for this coming season? I
find it unlikely, but the fact of the matter is he is here. We could do with another option up front or in the front three if possible. Like, because I know right now we have the 5: Kulusevski, Lucas, Kane, Son, Richarlison. Could do with a 6th just so we have more cover. But we also do have that foreign issue, don't we? So it does make it more likely than not.
He's under 21, does it? So it doesn't
I think
matter,
in Champions League he still counts because he hasn't been in the club for over 2 years. So he would still have to be registered. So because of that, still does make it more likely than not he will either get loaned out. But if let's say we decide to loan out Sarr instead of him, we know Reguilon's going, we know Ndombele and Celso are definitely going. So maybe there is a slight chance that he does stick around, but I still find it unlikely.
All right. Let's move on from Bryan Gil and let's talk about Troy Parrott now. As Scott Wilson from the Northern Echo is saying that Sunderland did try and sign Troy Parrott on loan again, but Antonio Conte blocked the move as he wanted the striker to come with Tottenham on the South Korean tour, which is interesting. Obviously, we've brought in Richarlison as to fight with Kane and Son. Do you think there's an opportunity now for Parrott and he could join the first team squad for the coming season?
I mean, it's a big ask. He has. Thing is, he's playing out wide for. If he was been playing, doing
he's
really well.
He's played a mixture of both, to be honest.
I know, but he's playing more out on the right, hasn't he, for MK Dons, than he has up front.
I'm not sure about that. I think he's played like a variation of up top, number 10, and out wide.
From what I've seen, his best performances have been out wide.
Okay.
That's what I've been. That's what I've seen anyway. I might be wrong on that. If he was playing pure number 9, then I would say there is a decent chance because we could do with a backup to Kane, and then Richarlison can play just purely up against like Son's position and coming in for Kane sometimes, and we have that extra option of another player up front. And if he is ready, I mean, that'll be brilliant. I mean, from what I can gather, it still makes more sense for him to go out on loan and get even more first team experience in the Championship, just to really test himself, getting more game time. But if Conte really believes he can make an impact in the first team, coming off as a sub and stuff, and maybe even starting some cup games, I mean, that would be unbelievable news, because that would mean we have another striker come through the academy who's ready. I'd be delighted with that. I really would. Nothing would make me happier than Conte thinking that Troy Parrott is ready. I just think from what I saw and heard about him last season, it probably would benefit him more getting the game time, but in the Championship. But maybe he wants to make that judgment for himself, Conte.
Yeah, I think he does want to make that judgment for himself, and I kind of agree with you. I think if he does stay, in terms of his development, I don't think he sees enough football if he stays to aid his development. So, yeah, maybe he can be used in the cup games here and there, but I think it's probably for his development the best thing for him to go back on loan again to a Championship side. And we heard over the weekend that maybe it could be a situation where he'll go out on loan to Middlesbrough, and that will aid us getting Spence. So that could be a win-win for everyone. Yeah,
I think that's the best solution, really, if you think about it logically. But as I'm saying, if Conte really thinks he can make a difference in the first team, then I'd be more than happy to have him around.
Could be a situation where maybe we keep him up until the World Cup, then loan him out again in January, and he can play the earlier rounds of the Cups and stuff like that.
Potentially, it will be very interesting if he does stick around. Yeah. That would be very interesting.
Would be indeed. Next up, we're going to talk about Kyle Walker-Peters, as David Ornstein says that Spurs are thought to have a £30 million buyback clause in the agreement that saw Kyle Walker-Peters switch to Southampton, while the likes of United and Arsenal are understood to have the defender on their list of possible targets. Would you like to see Kyle Walker-Peters back at Spurs?
I have to say how he's really impressed me at Southampton. I have to say that I think he's been brilliant. He's got the top performing dribblers. When it comes defensively, I think he's the top performing defender and not being dribbled past as a wing back as well. I have to say he's been great. He's been really, really good. And right now, if we were to sign him, does he come in as our best wing back? You could make a very good argument that he does. That he does come in our best wing back. 30 million is not a crazy deal for him. It's just the only question mark is, I guess, obviously we're re-signing an old academy player. Is he enough of an upgrade to justify bringing him in right now? Is he going to be what we need him to be if we really want to challenge for big things? But you can make that same argument for Djed Spence, and you can make that same argument for sticking with Doherty or Emerson. So, I mean, I really wouldn't be against it. In an ideal world, I would want him as my backup wing back. That's probably what I'd want. But would I take him right now? If you offered me Kyle Walker-Peters right now as first choice wing back, I don't know. If you offered me a choice for next season, Djed Spence or Walker-Peters as our starting wing back, I mean, I find myself leaning towards Walker-Peters.
Interesting.
I really do, because I think he's Prem proven. I think, and the wing-back system actually would really suit him. I think it would actually suit him more than playing at full-back right now at Southampton. I think he gets forward really well. Maybe he could work on his quality in the final third, but you know, I saw him as a 19-year-old get 3 assists in a game once for Tottenham. Whenever he played for Tottenham, really, actually he played pretty well. He just never got enough game time. So, I mean, if we go for him for 30 million, he can also cover the left wing back slot in emergencies as well. I mean, there's not too many downsides. The only downside is you'd probably want a better one in the future, because I don't think he's ever going to be like a world-class wing back. I think he's a very good wing back though.
Whereas Spence, might have a higher ceiling there.
Potentially. And that's up to the scouts and the coaching staff to decide whether Spence has a higher ceiling. There's nothing guaranteed, because I think right now Walker-Peters is a better player. Spence could potentially be better than him. That's absolutely true. But nothing in football is guaranteed.
Of course.
And so is it the safer option just to go with Walker-Peters because he's a better player and maybe Spence won't hit the heights? Or do we maybe gamble a bit more? It is a bit cheaper as well, 10 million cheaper, and say, look, we really believe this Spence is going to be the real deal, and we're better off gambling with him than going for maybe a bit of a safer option in Walker-Peters for 10 extra million.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I've liked Kyle Walker-Peters over this season for Southampton, and yeah, he has really impressed me, and he's been better. Well, he's just got consistent minutes, which he's shown what he can do, where he didn't really have that time in Spurs to show what he can do on a consistent basis. But I'm not sure if I've seen Kyle Walker-Peters have an attacking display like I've seen Spence have those attacking displays against Arsenal and Leicester. I don't know if Kyle Walker-Peters has that in him on a consistent basis to produce those non-stop attacking displays where he completely tore Arsenal and Leicester apart.
Yeah, but he's playing a fullback. It's a bit more defensive responsibility.
It's true.
But he's playing in a very attacking Southampton side as well. But as well, he's playing a lot of the time he was playing at left back because of Livramento. So I don't know. I feel like I get the feeling at wing back it would suit him a lot more than full back. I think he has the energy to cover the whole side of the pitch and to get forward really well. So, but I agree with you. I don't think we've seen dominant attacking displays yet on a consistent basis from what we saw from Spence. So on that basis, you could argue it's better gambling with Spence. And I think, as from what we can tell, the Spurs hierarchy agree. But all I would say is if we do end up with Kyle Walker-Peters, a lot of people will complain, but I actually think he's a very good player.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just think that for what we need, I think I'm leaning more towards Spence than I am towards Kyle Walker-Peters. I really am. But I do say that if Arsenal are going to go get him, and if
Walker-Peters,
if Arsenal try and stump up the cash for him, I'll probably start thinking, maybe Spurs should go get him.
Is that what's being talked about? Because I know United.
That's what I read in the update.
You read Arsenal as well. I heard United and Arsenal.
Yeah, United and Arsenal.
surely he would never go to. Oh God, no, we'd have to stop him from going to Arsenal. Surely, that'd be terrible. But look, it shows though. Well, it doesn't. I mean, it's only links, but if United really do go for him, it shows how highly he is rated. And they do have Wan-Bissaka there, but they're looking for a more offensive wing back. And if they do decide, we think Walker Peters fits the bill, that shows how highly they think, how good they think he possibly is. And he's homegrown as well. That's also another thing. So that helps with that factor. So I honestly would not be too against. But I wouldn't be too against it, but I don't think it's a long-term solution either. I think you want him plus another one, ideally.
I got a feeling Kyle Walker-Peters comes back, and then in a few years we're just like in the same situation we were in a couple of years ago when we looked to get rid of him before.
No, because I think he would play a lot more.
He would play a lot more. I still just want someone better than him, though, to be honest.
That's the thing. You do want someone better, but he's good. I think he's underrated. I think he's been brilliant at Southampton. So I don't know. If it's purely for next season, then I think I'd rather Walker Peters. But then for the long-term future, it's a good argument for Spence.
Yeah. Look, if we're going to go for Kyle Walker-Peters and spend 30 million on him, let's just push the boat out even more and go for a Dumfries. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what we should be doing. If we're going to be buying players for a significant amount of money, they got to be good and they got to be, lasting a while as well. In my opinion, I mean, if we're going to buy Kyle Walker-Peters for 30 million, are we really going to get more than that in a couple of years' time? Are we even going to get that amount in a couple of years' time?
30 million for Kyle Walker? Why not?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but if he's that good in England international when he's young as well, still.
Yeah, but England international, he might have got a call up, but is he really going to beat Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kyle Walker, all these players to the right back spot?
But he doesn't have to be worth over 30 million.
I just can't see him being worth over 30 million in the next couple of years. It's a lot of money.
If he does well at Tottenham, he would.
If
he does well at Tottenham, he would.
Yeah.
And I think he would do well if he came back at wing back.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. But we've got an update on Djed Spence up next. Sky Sports saying that Tottenham are in advanced talks to sign Djed Spence for 15 million plus add-ons. An agreement is getting closer and could be reached by the weekend. I mean, how many times have we heard this? How many times are we going to hear this?
Just entered advanced talks just now?
We entered advanced talks a month ago.
What talks were we in before?
I mean, surely, before the window opened, Djed Spence was supposed to be our first signing.
Advanced talks. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. What's like the opposite of advanced? What talks were we in before? It's ridiculous. Just to make a decision already, it's really doing my head in. It is, to be honest, it's a bit unacceptable that this deal wasn't done before pre-season. Like, there's no real. I can't really think of a reason, unless Middlesbrough are being that difficult. But if they're being really difficult, then walk away. There are better options out there anyway. And if you really feel like he's the best option, then why are you letting a few bonuses here and there about I don't know, these little bonuses? How can there be no compromise? Like, come on, it's a bit ridiculous right now that this deal is dragging on. So. Look, he's missed the tour anyway. Let's hope we get him in before we go to Scotland and Israel, and he can get up to speed then. But it's very, very frustrating. But part of me as well, maybe as well, we haven't pulled the trigger because I don't know. We're hearing conflicting things about our wing backs. People saying Emerson's not for sale. People saying that Doherty's his first choice. So. Maybe we just haven't made our mind up on that either. I don't know. It's weird why it's taken so long.
Well, only time will tell, and time is going to come very soon. And as we move on to the Emerson Royale update, Sky Sports saying that Atletico Madrid have made an offer to sign Emerson Royale on loan, but as it stands, Spurs have no intention of letting him leave. So I'm guessing with the right-back situation, as opposed to previous years where we're looking to sell before we buy, we're looking to buy before we sell. So once we do bring in a right back, I do think this move will probably get the green light on it. Yeah,
you have to think so. But it's weird. We're hearing so many reports saying he's not for sale, and then you got his agent saying Tottenham see him as the first choice. But then we all know there's a lot of talk, and maybe when they say that he's our first choice. Obviously, as our agent talk, he's always going to talk up his client, isn't he? And then us saying he's not for sale, that could just be us to try and get the best offer for him possible. We've seen that many times in the transfer market. So it's hard to read too much into all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm guessing we're just who knows with Tottenham? Because you could say we're waiting to get one in before we sell, but then sometimes we're waiting to sell before we get one in.
That's what I'm saying. But this has been a new Tottenham this summer. This has been a new Tottenham.
Yeah, but it is true. We didn't sell Bergwijn before we got Richarlison in. But with all the foreigners we need to get rid of, maybe we're going into sell before you buy territory soon. I don't know. I don't know if we've reached it just yet. But he seems happy. The problem is now with Richarlison there, Lucas there, he's probably very settled at Tottenham. And he's only been here 1 year, and also at the end of the year he was improving a lot. So it has to be a case of maybe us forcing him out the door. But and then again we took him on tour, so it's not like we didn't give the impression that we want to get rid of him by any means necessary, does it? So
yeah, but you take him on tour because there's no other options there. We had to take 2 right backs on tour, otherwise we wouldn't have, because he wanted to give everyone game time and stuff like. Or maybe I don't know.
I know he had Tanganga. I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right in that sense, but he was ruthless with Reguilon. But then again, you could say because we had Perisic already.
Yeah, exactly.
It's difficult. It's difficult to really know what the whole situation is, because you were hearing conflicting things. But I think himself, he would probably want another year at Tottenham. So it does become difficult when if he doesn't want to. If we have to really tell him, look, you're going.
I think if Conte, if Conte was to, we know how ruthless Conte is, and if we do get another right back in and Conte goes up to one of either Doherty or Emerson, because they both seem really happy at Spurs. If he goes up to one of them and says, look, you're just not in my plans for next season, they're going to have to find a new club. They're not going to want to sit here just because their friends are here just to sit on the sidelines. They want to further on their career, don't they?
Of course.
So I think that will be the situation when push comes to shove.
But if you're Emerson, if you and you're a 20, you've played for Barcelona, you're a 25 million.
Played so many games for Barcelona.
But you signed by Barcelona. You cost 25 million. He was just shoved out the door by Barca, to be honest.
Yeah.
Would he not? Is it possible he might think, look, there's Doherty and there's Spence there. I can get ahead of these two. I'm good enough.
He might think like that, but if Conte literally says to him, "You're not part of my plans," then what else is he supposed to do?
Maybe he can. Maybe he'll think, "Look, I can force. I'm good enough to force my way back into your plans. I'm going to prove myself to you."
Depends how adamant Conte is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But he took him on tour.
You know that with Conte, once he makes up his decision, usually his decision is made up. Usually, I know a few players have swayed his decision before in the past. But I genuinely think these players have been taken on tour because we haven't got a right back in, and it's evident that we are trying to get one in.
Yeah, we know.
So once we do bring one in, I think one of them will be told that you're surplus to requirements and be pushed out the door.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Last but not least, Harry Kane, as Fabrizio Romano said yesterday, that Levy, Paratici and Conte have never considered to sell Kane this summer. Spurs want to discuss a new deal as soon as possible as they consider him untouchable. So nothing new there, really. Nothing new.
And there was no chance that Emerson was, that Kane was leaving this summer. Absolutely zero chance. Let's just hope we get this contract sorted.
Yeah.
Let's just hope. It's. I would have hoped to have got it done earlier in the window, but maybe he was waiting to see what business was done. Let's see. I don't know.
Surely Kane is looking at Spurs right now and thinking, finally, they're looking serious.
Yeah.
Surely Kane has got to be licking his lips.
With Conte, look, we look serious in pre-season. We look serious now. So, I think that's absolutely right, and I think Kane must be really excited about what's going on at Tottenham right now, just like the rest of us. And right now, we wouldn't be open to selling him right now. Conte would be fuming if we even entertained an offer. So there was never a chance he was leaving this summer. As soon as Conte came in, there was no chance he was leaving.
Both of them obviously have running down contracts, Kane and Conte. Do you think Conte's future lies with Kane, or Kane's future lies with Conte? Which one do you reckon signs first, or has to sign first to make the other sign?
Probably Conte sign first for Kane to sign, I would think. But then again, Conte, with Conte, it could easily be a situation where he doesn't sign until the end of the season, and then he makes his decision. It's very possible, and he'll just say, "Okay, I'm extending." So, and then if we leave it that long, Kane's entering his final year of his contract. It gets a bit precarious. So there is a lot riding on next season. It wouldn't shock me if Kane doesn't sign at all this summer, and just wait to see how the season plays out. Doesn't mean he's not fully committed, but just means that he wants to see how the season plays out first before he completely commits. Because look, he signed a big contract last time, and let's be honest, it was more Tottenham who didn't keep up their end of the bargain than Kane in after him signing that contract, and maybe he doesn't want to go through that again.
I wouldn't blame him.
So in terms of signing a real long-term contract, so maybe he's just not rushing into it. Like maybe he rushed into it last time.
All right, well, that is the transfer stories at the moment as it stands. We've got a super chat here from Catman Jess. Big up Ben and Sim. Thank you for 1 year of friendship. Well, thank you, Catman Jess. Thank
Big
you
up
very
to you,
much.
Catman Jess.
Another super chat here from Dark Sunji21 saying, doesn't it feel good to see Man United in the mud with transfers and a project manager, and especially with the Ronaldo transfer issue, which they can't control?
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely helpful that they're in transition right now. That's for sure. Because with the quality of their squad, they could rival us for sure. They got serious quality, but they're just really badly run at the moment. And I do think it's going to take a while for Ten Hag to really get consistency out of the team. So I think top four is going to be a big stretch for them next season.
I agree with that, but I also don't think the state of Man United's squad is in such a bad state as everyone is saying. Although
apparently those qualities could rival us.
Yeah, they do. But you know, a lot of people on social media being like Arsenal's squad is better than Man United's and all this kind of stuff. I actually think they're not too dissimilar, the qualities of the two squads. If anything, Man United have a slightly stronger squad.
If he can get Rashford back playing and Martial back playing...
The thing is, he just named Maguire captain again today. Ten Hag.
Who were the other options?
They were saying Bruno Fernandes, obviously Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's wanting to leave, so you probably can't name him captain.
Definitely not.
But with all the everything around Harry Maguire, surely you want to make a fresh start and maybe try and get Maguire out the door, or even just make him just a normal non-captain, just a normal player in the squad.
Well, maybe he believes in Maguire.
Varane could be there as well.
Like I said, Bruno Fernandes.
No, they haven't.
Look, for all the shit Maguire got for last year for being terrible, which he was, you got to remember he's always been pretty good for England. And also the season before that, they finished second with him at the back. I don't think Maguire is that bad. I just don't think he's a world-class centre-back, which they, when you spend 80 million, you're expecting world-class. But maybe he believes in his dressing room leadership, and he's still going to be an important part of the team next season.
Does he seem like to you captain material when you've got players like Varane and Cristiano Ronaldo and all these big names at the club? It doesn't really sit right.
I'm not in the dressing room, How many times did we say that Lloris probably shouldn't be captain, and then we saw it inside the dressing room, actually, now we see why. Maybe it's the same with Maguire.
True. Anvil's member for 6 months. Big up Anvil, says press like or we're going to get the algorithms. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Big up Anvil.
Press like.
Giorgio, big up, says he's member for 7 months. He is welcome back, Ben. Congratulations on your wedding. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. And it's good to be back, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you soon. But, it's been a very good window for Spurs so far.
There's another super chat here from earlier in the stream.
Go on.
From Fat Baby Ambience, says LFC fan here, Liverpool fan, big up to you. Can see you're going to do something good this season. Which of your new signings will have the best season?
Ooh, that's a big question. I'm actually going to go for Bissouma. I think Bissouma's going to be our kind of biggest signing. So as of yet, because you never know who else can come through that door, but I'm going for Bissouma. Who are you going for?
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Perisic. I think he's going to bring something a wing back we just haven't had. I mean, Basuma is going to bring unbelievable quality to midfield as well. But in terms of goals and assists from wing back, I think he takes that situation to a new level. I'm hoping so. I'm going to go with Perisic.
All right. Well, as I was saying before, Spurs have had a really good transfer window so far. Some people that might have been, well, probably still are, Levy out, Levy in, Levy out. Who knows? There's no divide anymore. And someone that's been channeling their inner Daniel Levy, I can see. Let's bring him on.
Oh, it's not plugged in.
Mr. Daigle, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, brother. I've got to say, first of all, I got my membership worth just from hearing you doing your pigeon impression.
Buck.
There you go. That's the word of membership alone. How are you, mate? How are you?
Yes, Brian, all good, my brother. How you doing, mate?
All good, mate. All good. It's getting very, very hot here, like it is back home. So had to be done today. So it's fresh.
It's 30 degrees here in London. This studio is absolutely baking.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing it with Simeon for those 3 days. It's not fun, so I commend you both for putting in the work for everyone again in that school.
Nah, no problem at all. We've been having debates on the right-back situation at the moment. Kyle Walker-Peters being linked, Djed Spence being linked, Emerson being linked to moves away. Would you like to see Kyle Walker-Peters through the door?
So first of all, let me just start with Djed Spence. You remember that woman in the bloody Titanic when she goes, "It's been 84 years." That's what Djed Spence. I'm so bored of it. Either get it done, don't get it done. Is it a smokescreen? We don't know. Listen, Kyle Walker-Peters, if he comes in, he's got more Premier League experience than Djed Spence. He got himself into the England team, whether that's through injuries to other players. You're always going to have a want for players to come home. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I can't say that I'd be happy with it when I want like a Dumfries or the dream of a Hakimi. So it's another English player. We've just got to sort this position out. I've done a few streams recently, and one with you, Ben, where I said this position is the most important one we have to fill. We've been waiting since Kyle Walker to get this right, so they've got to do it. And do I think Kyle Walker-Peters is the answer for it being right, solved, close the door on right backs? No, I don't.
Well, would you rather Walker-Peters and Spence though for next season, or would you rather go with Spence?
Real hard one for me, Sim, because do I think Djed Spence will come in and set the Premiership alight immediately? No, I don't. But only because I don't see you going from a playoff winning right wing back in a Championship team to a title push challenging, whatever you want to say, top four, definitely competing, Champions League playing right wing back. I just don't see any player being able to make such a huge step up. But in the future, who do I think's got the highest ceiling? Djed Spence.
That's fair enough. Brian, in terms of our summer transfers at the moment, there are some fans who, although we've clearly had a good start to the summer, however you look at it, 5 signings before the pre-season tour in Korea, but considering how at the end of last season our 2 main problems were, people saying that we needed were a left centre back and a right wing back. Is there any disappointment at this point that those 2 haven't? I know we got Longley, but those 2 haven't seriously been interested. Those 2 positions haven't seriously been addressed with serious investment, or is it a case of, look, we've done great business so far, and we've got 2 months anyway to address those positions? So happy days.
Is that for me, Simeon? It's a bit of both, because I was saying before the window, right wing back. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, the central defence, they did very, very well last season, but they need upgrading. And with Longley, yeah, we've done that. We have upgraded. There is more strength in depth there. But this right wing back has been a serial problem since Walker left. The bits of business we have done have been phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. They have been outstanding. They have all come in. They're not so much ones for the future. They're not let's wait and see what happens. They solve a problem that we desperately needed and will come in and do a fantastic job for us. But the problem is, the main place that I think a majority of us want is this right wing back sorted, and it still hasn't been sorted. Is it that there's a a smoke screen going up with Spence and something big is going on behind the scenes? We don't know, but I would have thought that this position would have been like numero uno to fill, and it hasn't. What about you guys?
Yeah, look, I think that it's obviously a very important position, if not the most important position that we had to fill in the summer. But I do think one's going to come in. I just don't know who that one is. I mean, this Spence deal's just dragging and dragging and dragging. I don't really feel like Kyle Walker-Peters. We should be bringing Kyle Walker-Peters back. I really don't. I think that he's shown good stuff at Southampton, but I just think we need better than what he's shown at Southampton, in my opinion. And I think that Spence, what he did show in those 2 Premier League games is more than what Kyle Walker-Peters has been showing for Southampton, especially going forward. So I would like either Spence or... This is unbearable, this internet.
Mate, the heat, the internet connection.
We're back, Brian.
Oh, we're back. Good.
I think in terms of our right wing back slot, if you were to offer me, I think right now Walker Peters is a better player than Djed Spence. I think he is underrated. I really like Kyle Walker Peters, but yeah, I would want a better quality option for sure. I think Walker Peters is better than both Emerson and Doherty. I think you can make a very good case for that. I think you could definitely say he's an upgrade on them. I think, but ideally, you probably would want him as backup in a rotation with a better right wing back, and then that would be the perfect solution. But I don't see us spending 30 million and then spending more money on another right wing back. So I don't see that happening. So, in that sense, I would probably look for higher. But look, we're going for Djed Spence right now. So would I rather Spence than Walker Peters? I think Walker Peters is a safer option, to be honest. And I think he has scope to improve. And I think the wing-back role, he could do very well in the wing-back role. So I'm leaning towards Walker Peters in actuality. But I'm not going to be upset if we end up with Spence. But what do you think... if you are you happy with the window then right now, or do you because I see a few people being disgruntled about these things, but are you disgruntled, or are you just like, you know what, we've had a good window so far and there's nothing to be unhappy about?
You think he's disgruntled? Look how he did his hair. How could that be disgruntlement?
Exactly.
He's loving it.
What I've got when we're saying this, Sim, are we talking just about incomings, or are we talking about incomings and like the whole thing?
The whole, like, just how the window has gone so far, like, just up until this point. If I would have told you at the end of last season we would have done this much by this date, you know, what would your reaction have been?
I would have said, give me some of the drugs you're on. It's probably what I would have said. Listen, we got to look at this. I rated this with David and Ben when we did the show. I rated it so far at about a 6.5 or maybe even a 6. And the only reason I say that, don't get me wrong, we still got time. And as I said, this has been fantastic. This has been phenomenal. If you look at it, we got that 150 million to spend and then plus whatever. And yes, everyone we've bought has been very welcomed. And I'm actually amazed, like pulling off the Richarlison deal for one. But this right wing back, it's all good getting everything, but if you don't get the main component of what's been going wrong for a very, very long time, then that's a problem to me. Don't get me wrong, compared to other transfer windows, this by far exceeds anything I've ever seen, especially under this regime. But the right back is a huge issue for me. And I think, especially when we know Conte's creativity comes from left wing back, right wing back as the main source of creativity, not getting this is a big problem for me. If we were to sign a Dumfries right now, it would go straight up to a 9 for me. Straight up to a 9, because that's what we need more than anything.
All right, but it looks like it's going to be someone like Spencer, doesn't it? So does that mean that's disappointing?
For me, that comes down as one that could be ready for now, but one that will. Don't get me wrong. I think if we get Spence now, in 2-3 years, you're looking at the England right wing back or right back. No qualms about that.
England, what, ahead of James and Alexander-Arnold and all these people?
That's what especially under Conte. We see what Conte can do for people. All right, maybe not first choice, but definitely in that kind of equation. But right now, like what we've loved about Conte in this window is he's buying for now, or we are buying for now. And that right wing back for me is just a huge part of what we need to do in this transfer window.
Is in terms of the pre-season right now, they've got Parrott there, you got Gil there, you got Papa Mate Sarr there. For you, out of those three, do you think there's any chance any of those are here during the first team for next season?
I think they'll all go out on loan, but if I was to say one that would stay, I think it might be Mate Sarr. I think it might be Mate Sarr. I mean, we've got to remember this is the first time he is having a proper look at Mate Sarr, because obviously Gil was here, and what was the other person we just said? Troy Parrott. Sorry, Troy Parrott. He's getting a first taste of as well. Sorry, I think Troy Parrott needs one more loan deal, and I think Ben said as well. I'd love to see him just put him in the Spence deal and say, listen, here you go, final part of the loan deal. Have Troy Parrott on loan for a month. Season. Give him a season in the Championship so he comes back sharp and ready. Because last season it was one. Bryan Gil I see going out on loan, and Mate Sarr he'll take a real good look at. So I reckon if there's one that has the possibility of staying, it might be Mate Sarr.
Interesting. All right, Brian. Well, thanks for coming on today, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
Keep channeling your inner Levy, and we'll speak to you soon.
I am challenging. I can't even say it. I'm not channeling. I am not channeling shit from that man. I'm very, very happy with what he is doing. It is a huge start in the right. Sorry, a huge step in the right direction. Consistency now is key. Come back to me in 4 or 5 years, brother, when we're still here, and ask me that question. And if all things are the same, you may get a different answer.
Then if we keep doing it in the next 5 years, then you're going to wax your head instead of shaving it off. Is that right?
If we're doing this in 5 years' time, mate, I feel another stupid channel.
Well, let's just leave it there then. Let's just leave it there before you make any stupid bets.
Yeah, especially with my wife in the other room. I don't need her slapping me. That's for damn sure. But guys, always a pleasure. Everyone in the chat, have a great day, and I'll see you all soon.
Big up, Brian. See you later.
See you later, boy.
Brandon Troller with the super chat member for 10 months. Brandon, big up. He says, haven't slept since Friday, been on deadline, but fear thee not. I'll now fall asleep and dream of Doherty's new goatee. What a beautiful Irish butterfly. Brandon,
poet as ever, Brandon.
Brilliant
Stuff.
Brilliant.
And new member, Sylvester Maroon.
Big up, Sylvester, and welcome to the family, my friend.
Yeah, call in. You're a gold member now. Get on the community section and get the link, my friend.
Yeah, welcome to the family. Let's bring on Mr. Dan THFC. Dan, how's it going, brother?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. The sun is shining here in London. Spurs being out doing grueling training out in South Korea. Have you seen any of the clips?
Yeah, I have. And what surprised me the most is Troy Parrott apparently is leading the runs.
Yeah.
And he's the most fit out of all of them. That's actually surprised me massively. I mean, you could just see this. I was watching some clips, and you could just see how much the support is for Spurs in South Korea. There was a clip where I think it was Son and Kane were on the ground, and when they both got up, the entire stadium was cheering like if we just scored a goal.
Love that.
Yeah.
Would you? Is there any chance you'd like to see? Listening to what you're about what Troy Parrott and stuff. Is there any chance you'd like to see him in the first team next season? Just even if he's a backup attacker, or do you think his time is definitely more worthy going out on loan?
No, I feel that it'd be unfair of him to put him in the starting 11 because we already have Richarlison, we already have Kane. There's not going to be much minutes he's going to grab. So I think it would be fair to put him on loan again. Maybe a little bit of a higher competition than we put him out last time, but just for him to get minutes. And I think that in a few years' time, he could be a big player.
In terms of the right-back situation, we've been linked with Kyle Walker-Peters, bringing him back to the club. Djed Spence, rumours of one of either Emerson or Doherty going to leave the club. How would you like to see that situation play out? Let's say, for argument's sake, that you could only choose between one of Kyle Walker-Peters and Djed Spence and only get rid of one of Emerson or Doherty, or keep Emerson or Doherty. Which would you go for?
I would. Oh, this is a hard one. To buy, I would go with Walker Peters, mainly because he's got Premier League experience, and we got that buyback clause, so that would work out in our favor. And to sell, this is a hard one, because you know when, like, at the end of the season we got top 4. Now these players are starting to, like, I don't know, I'm starting to grow onto them, and I don't want any of them to leave, to be honest, because now the clips from Twitter are starting to get, like, I'm starting to like. I'm starting to like the players now. So, this is a hard one. I don't know. If I had to sell one of them, it'd be Emerson, because Emerson, the whole season, he played poorly, and he only played well to the end. That's when we needed him to play well, but at the same time, if I had to pick one to sell, it'd be Emerson.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah, that is interesting. In terms of the other young players who are part of the squad right now, in Papa Matasar and
Bryan
there's
Gil.
Troy Parra and Bryan Gil. For you, are they all? Is it a foregone conclusion that they're all going to be going out on loan or being sold this summer, or would you like to see any of them stick around for the season?
I think it'd be unfair to not give them a chance. I think we'd have to see how they perform in preseason. If Conte likes how they play, if Conte likes their physicality levels, then there's a chance that we keep them. I think if we were to keep one of them, it'd be Papa Matasar, because we haven't given him a chance yet under Conte. I think the rest of them we will put out on loan.
Okay.
All right. And how excited are you for Wednesday to see Spurs back on that pitch, see the new signings in action?
Oh, this is a funny story. My parents said we're going on vacation like tomorrow, and that we're gonna be going in pools, and I'm like, all right, but I better have a phone to watch Conte ball.
Exactly. Get your priorities. Either I have Wi-Fi or I'm staying at home. Absolutely love it.
Exactly. If I can't watch Spurs against the K-League All-Stars, then I'm not
I ain't
coming.
going on a holiday. That's my holiday. Watching Spurs in a friendly. Which signing are you most excited to see, Dan?
I think it has to be Bissouma. The key in the moment, the one that got me the most excited was the Richarlison when we signed him. But that Bissouma deal, for the price that we got him, I'm so excited to see him play, and I think he's an absolute baller. He's going to smash it in the Premier League next season. I'm pretty sure I saw a statistic the other day of Premier League midfielders winning the ball back, and it was the top 2 were Bissouma and Højbjerg. So our midfield is going to be bossing it next season.
All right.
I agree.
Dan, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend, and hopefully you get to watch the Spurs out on holiday, but have a good time.
Thanks. Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers. All right, and next up, it looks like we've got someone calling them from his sleep, dreaming of Doherty. Doherty and his goatee. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, hello.
You
How you
good?
doing? I'm doing well. I'm feeling fantastic. Yeah, I just noticed that I have to export for the next hour. I got nothing to do. I'm like, oh my God. What's on?
Perfect timing, eh? Perfect timing. So what do you rate Doherty's goatee?
Oh. Mwah. Sulfate, baby. Oh, come on. Give it here. I love it. Give a little identity to the flat Irish bread. I mean, God, bread pudding. That's what that man was about a year ago to all of us. Couldn't be had, but who knows? Maybe Conte's got that trick up his sleeve. Maybe Matt Doherty is coming back with a vengeance. You know, he's coming back like Ultimus Prime. You know, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, terrible movie. But I mean, Matt Doherty, I believe in the man. You know, he's got that goatee grit. You know.
Yeah, Harry Kane wasn't as complimentary as you on the goatee, anyway.
Bryan Gil liked it.
Yeah, he did. He did. Who gave it a minus? I think Fraser Forster gave it like a -2 or something.
Then again, Bryan Gil's still living in 1980. He looks like one of the Beatles. It's crazy.
Literally.
I mean, look, right wing back.
Yeah, talk to me.
Yikes. I mean, look, if we're talking about Southampton, why are we talking about Kyle Walker-Peters over Livramento? I mean, come on.
Livermento's out for 9 months.
Player. He just straight up is.
But he's out for 9 months, Brandon.
Oh no. All right, fine. If we're not doing Livermento, then I'm trying to get Jermaine Frimpong out of Bayern Leverkusen.
Fair enough.
That's fair, yeah.
That guy's a baller. I mean, he's fantastic. Or we teleport back here and try and actually push Tomiyasu through the door. No disrespect to Djed Spence.
No, Tomiyasu wouldn't be good at right wing back though, would he?
He'll be more like a right centre back.
Yeah, I don't know if he would be a wing back.
Honestly, Tomiyasu is. I feel like a year or two's time, we're gonna think about him as the one that got away. He's good. He can.
Definitely not. We got Emerson, mate. No doubt about it.
I mean, it's just. I mean, who do you go for then? Do you go for maybe Tariq Lamptey?
If you had a choice just between the two, Walker Peters and Spence, who'd you choose?
I mean, I'd choose Doherty over both of them, to be honest. Even with the injury for next season.
With Doherty, who would you go if you had a choice? One of them is going to partner Doherty for next season. Which one would you choose?
I mean, I'd go with Spence, just because it's sometimes you got to gamble in life, right? Mm-hmm. You know, Kyle Walker-Peters is definitely the surer thing. If you get him in, he's going to come do a job. But does he have the on the ball skill? He's great decision making. He's got some pretty nice positional awareness going on. But how good is he on the ball? You know what I mean?
He's one of the best dribblers. He's one of the best has one of the highest dribble success rate in the league.
Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah, Walker-Peters.
Who have I been watching the past 2 years? Okay, wow. I mean,
what's his end product and his crossing like?
I think last season he was a bit unlucky because Livermento got a bad injury, so he played over half. He played predominantly left back last season, and he still did all right. He got 1 goal, 3 assists. Right back, he played 8 games, got 1 goal, 1 assist. So not horrific, but not great either.
That 1 goal against Man City, wasn't it?
Yes.
Do you figure the Polish Punisher Matthew Cash could be available?
You like Matty Cash?
I'm not sure about Matty Cash. I mean, we need to be setting our sights on the way we've been setting our sights in the transfer window so far. We need to be getting someone of that level, a Dumfries, a Mailer, like you said, a Frimpong, someone of that ilk.
It's not going to happen, but you know who would be the perfect signing at right wing back?
Juan
Cuadrado.
Oh, you think a Cuadrado? I mean,
what, 34 years of age? We have a 33 and a 34-year-old.
Trust me, for 1 year, it's just like Perisic. Juan Cuadrado is that guy. He's that good. He's still got that stamina. He's his fitness levels are through the roof. He's a winger. He's a right wing back. I mean,
why didn't he do well at Chelsea when he came all those years ago?
He was playing on the wing, but now he's been playing at right wing back the past 2 years, and he's been killing it. Killing it, just like Perisic. Perisic, always a winger. Now he's a left wing back, killing it. Conte system, I'm telling you. Cuadrado specifically for the next year would be the perfect signing to try and actually challenge or something.
That's interesting. In terms of the window as a whole, I've been looking over, past few days at some Spurs fans who surprisingly aren't too happy, too over the moon, I should say, with how the window's gone, just because of the fact that if you go back to the end of last season, the two biggest roles that people saw that we needed the most was right wing back and left centre back, and those two positions as of yet hasn't been major investment in, we should say. So how do you see it? Do you look at that and think there's a case not to be happy, or do you see the business we have done and say, look, I'm delighted and we've still got 2 months to address those other issues?
It's a tough one, right? If to be fair to Levy, and let's always put this with a grain of salt when you say fair and Levy in the same sentence. But to be fair to him, it seems as though he did go after Bastoni. He did go after Gvardiol, and for one reason or another, it didn't work out. What's really worrying me about the Gvardiol situation, at least, is Man City's going to be coming in for him. Potentially even this summer again, with Nathan Ake coming out the door now over to Chelsea. And look, we got to do something to force Leipzig's hand, because I'm telling you, if it's not Bastoni, it's Bardio. Those two guys are the gems of the under 23. Bastoni's still 23, I think he is. Maybe he's 24. But that age
Bastoni.
group,
He's 21,
that age
isn't he?
group, left
Who,
center
sorry?
backs.
Bastoni.
Bastoni, yeah, he's like 21, 22, something like that.
He's 23.
Yeah, I mean,
23.
23, yeah. So of that age group, not only left center backs, I'm talking about any center back along the back line. Those two are top three, easy. I mean, it's that simple. And if we don't go and get one of them guys, either Bastoni's staying at Inter for life, or they're going to be somewhere else next summer. I'm telling you. I mean, we just can't offer the wages that Man City can offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unfortunate, and for that reason, I understand why people are frustrated, because Clement Lenglet, while he might be a fantastic short-term solution, we didn't even get him with a buy clause. What's going on with that? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, I'm sure that Barcelona probably wanted an obligation to buy, and then Levy said, "Oh no, it needs to be an option." And then they're like, "All right, just take him for a year." But I don't know. I just don't see the sense in it.
Yeah, but with Barca, clearly no trust in Lenglet. They've just brought in Christensen as well. I think if he does really well here, there's always going to be that option to negotiate a deal. So I don't see it as too much of an issue.
But then the deal goes up. Do you think Kulusevski would cost the amount we're going to end up paying for him? No.
Yeah, that's true. But if you're saying is what is right, Levy didn't want the obligation, and we don't want the obligation because potentially we could be going for a Gvardiol or Bastoni next summer, then it's probably right not to put the obligation in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know about that. I mean, to be honest, Lenglet is a fantastic ball-playing center back. If he's not going to cover the left center back position, one of the two left center backs, then he can go cover the central role. I don't see why we didn't go in and just chuck in a £7 million bid, get him on the cheap. Why is it a loan?
Yeah,
I mean, it's. I don't think that he's gonna be a world beater or anything quite like that, but he's a very, very solid depth option. Very, very, very good. At least comparatively to maybe a Japhet Tanganga, who you don't really trust at the highest level quite yet. I mean, What do you think about Tanganga? That's an interesting one, actually. What's going to happen with him? I mean,
I'd like to see him go out on loan. I'd like to see him go out on loan, play consistent minutes at a lower Premier League team. I really would. I mean, I think his career and his development would be helped so much if he could get consistent minutes week in, week out. At Tottenham, he's just not going to get that, unfortunately. So that's what I would like to see him go. And if not, then I think the club should probably cash in on him now, because I don't think that he's going to be that player that we're all hoping for him to be, if he's only going to stick around here and be on the bench.
Yeah, I don't see any way for him to grow. It's unfortunate. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. He's a nice young lad, but it's it's the years are ticking by. It's you can't put in one or two spectacular performances a year and then call that progress, right?
Yeah, maybe it's a situation where we sell him and add in another buyback clause like we have for Kyle Walker-Peters and Dennis Serkin.
Dennis Serkin, we have a buyback clause.
Apparently so, yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, that was an upsetting one when that happened. What about Troy Parrott? Do you think Troy Parrott would you let him go out?
I think one more loan for Troy Parrott and then come back and see what you can do.
Yeah, I think also fantastic, experience, but a season under Conte that could do wonders for him.
It could, but is his development aided better being under Conte and not playing much football, or going to a championship team playing week in, week out?
I don't know. I mean, we want to compete in the FA Cup this year. We want to compete in is the EFL still happening? Or did they cancel it because of the World Cup? Yeah, it's still happening. Yeah, I mean, especially with the World Cup still happening. I mean, Ireland's not going to the World Cup. We need depth. People are underestimating. The World Cup is going to bring about, unfortunately, statistically, I mean, it's like inescapable to say, scientifically, it is going to bring about more injuries. It happening in Qatar, in the midwinter, it's I don't. If we send someone like a Troy Parrott out on loan, I'm trying to send him out with the option of bring him back after 6 months. I'd love to bring him back in January. I think that would be fantastic. You know, I mean, what do you? Nobody knows what's going to happen. This is not. I mean, this has never happened before, right? Having a World Cup just stop the entire season. So I think while Richarlison's great player, right? We still do need an extra guy to cover. You know, we do need an extra attacker.
At least Sweden aren't going to the World Cup, so that's Kulusevski is going to get a nice rest over that month. So, I mean, do we have many other players not going to the World Cup that are going to be in our starting 11? I mean, Basuma and Mali aren't going to the World Cup, are they?
We're stacked with the World Cup. As far as Premier League teams go, I mean, we've got to be right up there at the top. I mean,
yeah, but you'd assume that Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, all the teams have stacked.
Liverpool, not Mo Salah's not going to the World Cup.
They sold Mane. What's Nunes from Uruguay? They're going.
Uruguay's not going to the. Oh no, are they? Yeah, they are.
They not?
They are.
They must be.
No, they are. They are. I was mistaken. That's Chile. That's not going to the World Cup. I mean, Man City. Yeah, they've.
Haaland, I don't think's going.
No.
Haaland's not going. There you go. I mean, yeah. Look. You got Son, Kane,
Kulusevski.
Huh?
Kulusevski, Sweden.
No,
going?
he's not going.
Kulusevski's
No,
not
he's
going.
not going. But then Højbjerg, he's going. Bentancur, he's going. Basuma may be going.
Basuma's not going.
Yeah, I mean,
Nah, Basuma's not going.
Perisic is going. Lloris going. Rodin going. Not that he's still going to be here. But,
Romero's definitely going.
Yeah, he loves his Argentina.
Davis will be going. Yeah, we've got a lot of players going.
Dyer should be going. I mean, literally everybody but Kulusevski's going, and Basuma now.
Yeah.
So I would honestly look at least keeping around a few guys just to keep it a little fresh. You know, keep Troy Parrott around. Keep somebody who's just not going to the World Cup. Please, this is going to break. It's going to wreak havoc on the Premier League, on the soccer, on the footballing world.
Mate, second half of the season, Kulusevski and Basuma are just going to kill everyone. It's going to be the best.
Yeah, Basuma's gonna turn into a prime Vieira.
Literally.
No, they're gonna say that Vieira was almost as good as Basuma after this all.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was the fake Basuma. Basuma's the real thing. Vieira walked so Basuma could run. Watch
exactly. I love it.
Exactly.
Absolutely love it. Brandon, thanks for coming on today, buddy, and we'll see you next time.
All right, have a nice day, fellas.
And to you. All right, big up Brandon. Let's bring on our next guest, Mr. Alex Samuels, with a spectacularly clean room today. Very clean. Wow, look at that.
Well,
Standing ovation.
Well, you forget the bedside. The other side is very clean.
Yeah, the other side's fine, apart from all the rubbish at the back there. But no, I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, very good. You loving the transfer window at the moment, or there are a few Spurs fans out there that are getting a bit worried about the right back situation. How are you looking at the window so far?
It's interesting because you can't really argue that Tottenham have gone out and done what we have asked of them to get our business done early, which I don't know, has this ever happened? Don't think so. Certainly not while I've been a Spurs fan for over 20 years. So
apart from when we bought the Beatles and sold Elvis, we actually bought them, didn't we? And then we sold Bale.
Yes, that may would count, but even still, I mean, 5 signings.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say is that I am disappointed in the centre back position. That is probably my big, because it was an open secret that the number 1 priority for this summer was the left centre back position, so that we could have a consistent, high quality back 3 in our starting 11. It won't be every game, but in our starting 11, our ideal. And Longley, while the thing is, when opponents are doing tactical analysis on our team for matches and stuff like that, they will always look for the areas of weakness. And in my view, you're looking at Romero, die middle, and then if you have a Longley in their left centre back role, they're going to target him because they know he will be an area of weakness in the team. So, while you could say it's not Tottenham's fault that we couldn't get the deals such as Bastoni or Gvardiol done. I mean, even City they want to get Gvardiol in, and they're really struggling with that as well, apparently, as a replacement for Ake. While you could argue that's the case, there are other alternatives, but I can understand also the argument. For example, Pau Torres, we know he's available. That's gone all very, very quiet, and clearly that's not going to happen because of a long way. You can say, okay, well, why don't we just wait till next summer? My only worry is, our squad is, we've got Harry Kane and Son in their prime for this season. We have very limited time left with some of these players, and we need to capitalise right now. So, I can understand Tottenham's position, but I think the disappointment felt by me, and I can see other people also the less centre back position as well. I can understand it.
Maybe on paper he's a weakness, but maybe in practice he won't be as bad as people would imagine.
Look, Conte has done wonders with some of the players in this squad, right? He is transfer. Well, Ben Davis, great example, isn't it? Perfect. Sessegnon also keeps getting better and better.
Eric Dyer.
The list is endless, isn't it? So yeah, look, but I think that kind of really proves my point, because the Longley transfer is a transfer based on hope.
But is it a transfer based on hope when Conte has tried to sign him before, and it's clearly a player that Conte believes in?
Yeah, well, we've seen Conte do it to players who have been outcasts at other clubs. Everyone knows about the Victor Moses situation. Ashley Young, yeah, that was the next one I was going to say. So we've seen him do it before, and if Conte wants him, then great. But surely in Conte's mind, he likes him, but we know there's probably players he would have liked more.
It was quite evident that Bastoni and Gvardiol were our number one targets, right?
Yeah.
If they're not able to come in for one reason or another, Bastoni didn't want to leave Inter. Inter didn't really want to let him go either. Gvardiol seems like doesn't want to leave Leipzig this summer. Maybe potentially next summer could be a situation where he leaves, and Leipzig don't really need the money, and they don't want to let him go. So in that kind of situation, do you not think it's better for Spurs to bring in someone that Conte believes in on loan, where we can catch our number one targets next summer? Or would you prefer Spurs to settle on someone like Pau Torres? We're bringing him on a transfer fee, and then it will make us even more unlikely to bring in our number one targets next summer.
Well, look, I think what's important in this is Ben Davis. Ben Davis is 29 years old, I think. I don't know when his birthday is. But, it's kind of actually a good... Sissoko, for example, had I'm not... Ben Davis wasn't as awful as Sissoko was at the beginning of Sissoko's career at Tottenham. But, he got better when he got into older, but then started to fade a bit. And that can happen unless you're a very, very elite player. That can start to happen. So, if you bring in a Pau Torres this summer, that's not necessary, or someone like that who would cost a bit of money, not as much as a Bastoni or a Gvardiol, but that cost 30 to 40 million or something like that. You have them there; they'll be in your squad for the next 5 years, and that's fine. And then you can bring in someone else next summer, or there'll always be left. I'm a bit worried that we might not get either Bastoni or Gvardiol next summer, because we know City are definitely sniffing around Gvardiol 100%, and that's a big problem for us. Bastoni, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if he signs a new contract at Inter personally at some point this year, in my view. So, but there will always be targets available, and you know, your players come and go from the football scene. It happens. You know, who would have thought last year a name like Gvardiol would be on a list, for example? You know, no one would have labelled that. So it does. So it happens. So that's why I feel like maybe we could have just gone a bit stronger with that signing. Look, I get the reasoning behind Longley. I'm not one of those saying he's an awful player. He's going to be terrible for Tottenham. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for it being our number one priority position this summer, I'm just naturally a bit disappointed. I think.
Fair enough.
Maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense, but
No, it makes sense.
in my mind, I just feel a tad disappointed. The rest of our business has been good. I presume as the signing I'm most excited for personally. And yeah, and the only thing I'd like to say is as well is maybe just I want to see more improvement in the starting 11 as well. That will probably continue more into next summer, I reckon. It's a bit different if you compare it to Arsenal, for example. Last summer they made got a lot of squad players, and tried to just improve the overall quality of the squad. I know we'd say we're ahead of them, which we definitely are, but it's the same kind of model. A new coach coming in, build up the squad, and then this summer they've gone for real quality. And
Well, they've got one player in that strengthens their first 11. We've already brought in two players probably that strengthens our first 11 straight away.
But they've targeted players like Rafinha. They haven't necessarily got them, but they've targeted those.
The
players
players that they're targeting don't want to join them.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah. But I don't know. I think next summer we'll see much more movement on that. But the right wing back situation with Djed Spence is just boring now. It's just real.
Do you want to see Kyle Walker-Peters through the door?
Not really, in my view, especially for a sum of 30 million. I know he's done much better at Southampton, but even at Tottenham, I just never really saw it with him. I just never did. And the games I've watched him since, I don't know. I think he still lacks a lot of that physicality that you'd want. Maybe in a right wing back position, that would be not as important potentially, especially because I think his crossings pretty good. I remember it's always been decent. I remember I was at the game where he got a hat trick of assists, I think. Yeah.
Who was that against? Was that against Newcastle or someone? I can't remember.
It was against Bournemouth.
Could have been.
It was Bournemouth.
Yeah, you might be right there.
Yeah. In fact, actually, it was because that was the first interview I gave you guys. I'm pretty sure.
Was it?
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I remember that.
Is that when you said Kyle Walker-Peters was going to be our best right wing back for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god.
I see a star in that boy.
Yeah, but I think I said he's got more assists than Ozil at the time.
Yeah, that was which was
that
actually
was
correct.
Would you, if you chose between Walker-Peters and Spence, you had a choice between both of them?
Spence, I think.
Spence.
And who would he partner, Doherty or Emerson?
Oh god. Probably just Doherty. I'd say Doherty purely because we can get a fee for Emerson. That's that, and clearly. Although it is interesting that he did take him to Korea though. That is quite and yet left Reguilon at home.
Yeah, but we did bring in Perisic.
That's true. So I wonder if maybe if Spence had arrived already, would Emerson have, or Doherty?
I got a feeling if we already brought in a right wing back, the one who he prefers more would have gone to Korea, and the other one would have been left at home.
It seems it is Doherty as well. And also, what's interesting to note is Doherty, very much from the reports, is a big figure in the dressing room.
Yeah, seems that way.
And so keeping him there, it's something that fans don't really think about a lot. Is just because we don't purely, it's not our fault, because we don't know a lot about it really, how the players interact with each other behind the scenes and all that. So it's something that does need to be considered at a club level. So for me, Emerson is probably the one that needs to be sold.
Yeah, Doherty seems to have a really strong relationship with Harry Kane and like the kind of senior figures at Tottenham. So, it's probably something to consider. But Alex, just before we let you go, this season, what do you think our targets should be? Where do you think what do you think we can achieve this season with the signings that we've brought in?
I think top 4 should be a minimum. For
breaking the top 3.
Exactly. We should be aiming to push as far as possible. I think should be the aim. You can't sit here and say we should be aiming to break the Liverpool and City grasp on the league, because that's probably that's unrealistic in one transfer window to do. So just push as far as possible, close the gap in points. Maybe overtaking Chelsea is probably would be a good marker for the progress, potentially, considering what Conte's comments have been in the past. And aside from the league, it's always going to be the case, a trophy, isn't it?
Of course.
A top 4-3 finish and a trophy.
How many windows did it take for Liverpool? How many windows did it take for Liverpool to catch City once Klopp came in?
I mean, to be honest, it was kind of just a couple of signings.
Klopp came in before Pep, though.
Klopp came in before Pep. But how long did it take Pep to get to the levels before it took Klopp to get to the levels?
Well, Pep won the league first, and then then the following summer they closed the gap.
Brought in
but that was Klopp's third season.
Okay.
Alisson, Fabinho, and then it was
Van
really
Dijk,
that the summer and the January transfer window, but it all changed for them.
And that was the thing, like when they signed Van Dijk as well, because they were rumoured to sign him 6 months before, but they couldn't get the deal done for whatever reason. And instead of signing another centre-back, they still waited for their first choice signing. And I think that's what we got to be doing with the Bastonis and the Gvardiols.
I see what you mean, but and it makes sense why Tottenham have done that. However, I just think personally, the players that we're targeting are of such a high caliber that they might potentially be snapped up or made completely unavailable for our budget, and that's maybe my worry. Van Dijk was very much set that summer. The move got blocked because of, I think, Southampton complained of an illicit approach for Van Dijk. I think that's what happened.
I think I remember something similar of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But we knew that Van Dijk wanted to go to Liverpool, whereas that's not the case with the signings that we've targeted. Hence, that's why I'm a bit more worried about this situation. But yeah, I see what Spurs' strategy is, and
it's nice to have a strategy, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, because this has been the whole thing, isn't it? For the past couple of years, what is the strategy of Tottenham Hotspur? We haven't had one. At least we know. Look, we are targeting. Yes, it's a more short-term strategy than our North London rivals, potentially other clubs, but that's because we have such amazing talent that we have to capitalise on in the moment with 2 world-class forwards. And that doesn't mean that we can't also get young players like Djed Spence, Kulusevski, players like that coming in. That's still capitalising on it if they perform well. So yeah, I think it's a bit of both really. And we know we have the money to do it as well, which is always a good thing. Can't remember saying that before, but
you going out to any of the pre-season games?
Probably not, because it's a bit of a busy time for me personally, looking for jobs in football and all that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but
all right, well, hopefully we'll get to see you at the start of the season. And
I can't wait.
Thanks for coming on, my friend.
No, thank you guys. Thank you.
Speak to you soon.
Alex.
See you. Bye bye.
Always great to have Alex on, and let's go next to Michael. It looks like to be in a very sunny Poland. How are you, Michael?
Yeah, guys, I had all the intro planned, but the sun keeps trolling me and keeps hiding between the clouds. So, it's not really easy to get a good shot, but I'm at the seaside in Gdańsk. I don't know if you guys ever been here, but
never been, no.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Sorry, again?
No, we've never been. No, never been.
Yeah, I recommend it. Great, it's a great city. A lot of sightseeing to do, but I'm being kind of a tour advisor for my girlfriend because she's never been here. Well, she's been here once, but never really like a lot of time for sightseeing. So right now I'm the tour guide.
Brilliant. In terms of look, Spurs out in South Korea, and it's quite a big tour because there's a lot to be decided with this tour. What do you think are the bigger decisions that Conte has to make while on tour in South Korea?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm really glad that he took a lot of youngsters with him, because I think that only Divine and Scarlett aren't there, and all the other ones that we kind of pin our hopes on are there with him. Also the new signings, let's say, so Papa Matarsar, Gil came back from loan. So yeah, I'm really glad that they are there. I'm really glad that they will probably be given a chance on this preseason tour. So yeah, I'm just really happy for the way that our squad is right now. I'm really happy with the business that we've done so far. And I actually, in terms of Gil, I have a lot of hope for him. I feel like there is some hidden talent there, and I'm really hopeful that he shines in our club. So yeah, I'm really happy that he wasn't the one that was left behind in England. And yeah, just generally can't wait for the Wednesday to watch the game. And yeah, I'm positive about it.
In terms of you talking about our transfer window, you're happy with our business. Some fans are not happy that we have yet to strengthen or seriously invest in the two areas that you could argue most needed investment at the end of last season, which is left centre back and right wing back. What's your opinion on that? Are you still hopeful we'll heavily invest in those areas, or if we do sign a Spence and stick with a Longley, is that enough for you?
Yeah, so personally, I feel like there is still a lot of business to be done, and that a lot of business that can be done. So we've all been talking about how much money supposedly our club has, and we got that capital increase, and there is still money coming from player sales and the money that they actually got from tickets and selling everything around the stadium. So I feel like, honestly, we haven't spent much yet in if you look at it that way, right? So with Bergwijn and Carter Vickers going, we've spent like 55 million, something like this, right? So yeah, I still believe there is a lot of business to be done, and I want us to strengthen at least like in 2 more positions at least. So that's right wing back and a center back, and in my opinion, it doesn't have to be the left center back. If we got the Langley over the line, right? So I feel like, for a healthy defense in a 3 at the back, you should have like a player for each position and a backup for that player. So right now, I would say that we don't have a backup for Dyer, and that's what I think we should focus on, because as you guys said, I feel like we should be focusing on our main targets. So if our club decided that Guardiola, Bastoni and other players of that sort are our primary targets, and they will be available next year, right? Well, Bastoni not necessarily, but Guardiola will be available. So I would rather us wait a year and settle for a stopgap like Langley, but that's assuming that we strengthen in the central center back position. Because if Langley was the only one that we brought for the center back positions, I wouldn't be happy with the business in that case. And honestly, there is a lot of talk about Walker Peters right now and Spence and the right wing back position. And I was listening to plenty of other podcasts too, and I kind of share the opinion that those are the signings that we probably could have made without making Champions League. So like if we were in Europa League or if we were even in the Conference League, Walker Peters is someone that we could have brought in that case anyway. So I kind of want us to go and buy someone who will like really wow me, let's say, right? That I will be really stunned that we actually pulled this off. And I don't think that both of those players are that. But of course, as I say plenty of times, I will welcome anyone who decides to wear the shirt of the club, and I will give everybody a chance. And especially if our coaching staff deems them suitable for that role, right? So yeah, I just still feel like there is plenty of things to be done in the near future, and so far I'm happy. But if that's everything that we do this summer, then the rating will drop massively for me, because the expectations around our club are really high, and we just want to achieve something more than we used to for the couple of past years. So that the business that we've done so far is not enough to do that for me. So yes, so far, as of like, what is it, 7th? No, it's I feel like 10th or 11th of July. So far, I'm happy, but if it stays that way until the 31st of August, I won't be. So I want more. Yeah, I'm greedy. That's a shame, but I want more, like all of us probably, right?
Of course. All right, Michael. Well, thanks for coming on today. Good to chat to you again, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to you soon.
Yeah, see you guys soon. Have a nice summer.
And to you. Bye-bye. I've just seen a post from Reguilon on social media.
Oh, yeah?
He's put an Instagram story 23 hours ago with his girlfriend, Marta Diaz. I don't know if that's in the UK or not, to be honest, but it looks like he's having a good time, that's for sure. Could be in the UK, to be honest, but I don't know.
Well, talking of Reguilon, Samuel Silva, a journalist out in Spain, has just tweeted saying that Sevilla are currently working on a transfer with Tottenham to get Reguilon to Sevilla. So
very convenient
that
both clubs are out South Korea.
Seems like things are moving with that transfer, so would not be surprised if he ends up going there.
All right. I think that is all we got time for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching us today. Thank you, everyone, for calling in as well. You guys do make the show, so thank you. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs. Spurs.